Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another new movie review. Today we're going to be talking about Mayhem. Before I get into this new movie review, I want to say a quick thank you to my creepy patron peeps for your support of my channel. Thank you so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description box. Mayhem tells the story of a virus that infects a corporate law office on the day that attorney Derek Cho is framed by a coworker and wrongfully fired. The infection is capable of making people act out their wildest impulses. Trapped in the quarantine building, our hero is forced to savagely fight tooth and nail for not only his job, but also his life. Did like the style of humor in Mayhem. I feel like all of these like office comedies in whatever genre, if it's just like an office comedy, a horror comedy, it has kind of like the same sense of humor. It's very kind of like snarky, witty, maybe a little bit dry. It kind of has the same feeling in Mayhem. You know, it reminds you of Office Space, The Office, the Belko Experiment is a big one it reminds you of. I did really like the humor in it, and Steven Yeun is in it. I missed him so much, but I totally wanted to watch it ever since I saw it was coming out because I miss Glenn so much on The Walking Dead, and his character in Mayhem kind of reminds me of Glenn a little bit. He's got the same kind of like, I don't know, it just feels like another version of Glenn or something. And I really enjoyed that because my heart missed Glenn. So like I said in the summary, the building is quarantined when it's revealed that the virus is breaking out in the building. So everyone's locked in this office building. I think the way the office is introduced in the beginning of the movie and the character Derek Cho's narration in the beginning kind of introducing us to all of the characters and the areas in the office kind of makes you feel familiar with it, so you don't, at least I didn't ever feel like bored or claustrophobic being in the same area the whole movie. Obviously we have to talk about the blood and guts of the movie. While maybe not as violent or bloody as the Belko Experiment, there is still plenty of blood and gore to be had, and a lot of awesome kills. Our hero Derek Cho and the girl he teams up with pretty much go on a rampage with a bunch of power tools, and you can only imagine how awesome the kills are with stuff like a handsaw and, you know, a nail gun. And above all, what I really enjoyed about this movie is that it is a simple premise. It almost kind of has like a what if situation, you know, something that maybe you'd be like discussing with your friends, like, hey, what if for like one day we were all just locked in this office building and we were allowed to do whatever we felt like doing? Like, what would happen? And then this movie is like the answer to the question, like, this is what would happen. So I mentioned before that there is some voiceover narration. It kind of goes throughout the movie. Obviously the bulk of it is at the beginning and the end of the film, and it's Steven Yeun's character, Derek Cho, who's doing the narration. I thought it was useful and funny in the beginning of the movie because he kind of not only introduces his character and how he came to work at the company and how he rose to the position that he is in, he also kind of talks about the virus, which I think saves a lot of time in the movie so we can get to the killing quite quickly, which is nice. So it's super useful in the beginning. A nice way to kind of share information on the virus, like I said, so we can get into it and we don't have to spend a whole lot of time explaining what the virus is and what it does. At the end though, the only problem I really had with the narration was at the end of the movie, because it kind of does the same thing that it does in the beginning. Instead of showing a lot more, it relies on the narration to kind of explain what happens at the end. Just for my personal taste, I feel like certain parts of the ending were really drawn out, and maybe we could have spent some time showing what happens at the end or the conclusion instead of the character just explaining everything that happens. The film doesn't leave you with as much to talk about and discuss at the end of the movie like the Belko experiment did, and I hate to I hate when I feel like I'm kind of forced to compare two films, but they are super similar. Like, they're very, very similar premises. But like I said, the Belko experiment has more of a moral dilemma. Like, there's no virus. It's like they're being forced to either choose to kill people in the office or not kill people. So that's like, you know, when you leave the theater, you know, you're kind of discussing with your friends, like, oh, what would you do? What would you do in that situation? And this one, it's a virus. Although the way the virus works in the film is kind of simple. Basically, your id takes over. So it's whatever instinct or whatever you're feeling right at that moment, you do it. Like, so if you feel like punching one of your coworkers in the face, that's what you're going to do, that sort of thing. And finally, the only thing that I think maybe kind of really bothered me, and maybe I don't I don't want it to sound like I blame this movie for doing this, like this is the only movie that's ever done this. I think I'm just getting a little tired of seeing this. Derek teams up with a girl who's also obviously trapped in the office building, Melanie. We kind of have an interaction early on. Melanie poses as a lawyer because her house is being foreclosed, so she's trying to like kind of sneak in, help her keep her house. So she ends up getting trapped in the office building too. And so she's angry, so they team up to take down all the big boss people of the office because they're pissed, understandably. Derek from being fired, Melanie from, you know, them being very cold and not caring that she's gonna lose her house. Of course, we come to a moment in the film where there's no killing going on. It's kind of a slow moment, and the two have sex. And I know, everyone out there's like, well, Vicky, you know, like they're id, if, you know, that's what they were feeling in the moment, that's what's gonna happen. I know, but, and I'm not an expert in psychology here, but couldn't it also be possible if there was no, like, just, let's just say for argument's sake, there was no attraction whatsoever at all. They just, not saying they have to be like gay or anything like that, or one of them does or anything like that, but they could just not be attracted to each other. That's a thing, you know? Men and women cannot, like, they can be straight and not be attracted to everybody, you know? So I was just kind of like, did we have to put this in here? I feel like it wasn't necessary for the movie at all, especially because at the end, I don't want to give anything away. I'm not going to give anything away, but they do leave their relationship kind of open-ended. Like, you could very much see it as they're just friends by the end of the movie. Because there's no other sexual tension the rest of the film, at least not that I picked up. Is it possible to have a male and female lead in a movie and there not be sex? Is that possible? But that is a super nitpicky thing. Do not get me wrong, like that this movie is awful or whatever. I think I'm just tired of seeing that in films in general. Anyways, was Mayhem worth it? I think yes. I think it's definitely worth watching at least once. Obviously, you know, with it being a horror comedy, some people are gonna like it more than others because, you know, it just comes down to like your taste in humor ultimately. I think it's a fun watch at least once for everybody. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was all right. On IMDb right now, it has a 6.3 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 83% critic score and a 66% audience score, which is pretty good. And on Roger Ebert, it has a 3 out of 4, which is really surprising. I was able to watch this. I watched it on YouTube. I rented it on YouTube, so I'll leave a link to that in the description box. That's not an affiliate link, just so you know. And I think it's on Shudder too. If it is, it will say in the description box. I feel like maybe it's another movie. I feel like I saw a poster of it that said like a Shudder exclusive, but then I rented it on YouTube, so it's not a Shudder exclusive, is it? I don't know. Alright, so if you've seen Mayhem, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. As always, you can find me at all the normal social media places. The links for those are in the description box. You can also find me on my blog at nightmaremaven.com, on morbidlybeautiful.com as a contributing writer, and on their YouTube channel also now. And you can find me at patreon.com/nightmaremaven if you want to check that out and support the channel. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here, become a Creepy Peep today. I post videos Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye!